Good morning, and thanks a million for joining me on the yoga mat today. This week's focus is on sciatica, the lower back, and the pelvis, and really that whole kind of core hip area. So, often, and I'm kind of just focusing on sciatica because it is an area that does seem to creep up or an issue that does seem to creep up with a lot of people, and particularly with a lot of athletes that I know, and in particular cyclists. So often sciatica, it is to do with kind of that irritation of the sciatic nerve that runs kind of from the lumbar area of the spine. It runs through into the buttocks, into the hamstrings, down into the calves, and all the way down to the foot. So when it is irritated, it can be quite debilitating, if it gets too bad. Sometimes it can be to do with a compressed nerve within the spine. It can be to do with like disc degeneration or shifting. And again, just even the practice of yoga to create a little bit of space into the spine can help. But what we're going to be doing this morning is predominantly working into the muscles all the way down through the body that surround that nerve, hoping to create a little bit of space around the nerve to give it that little bit of breathing space. So it's more to alleviate the symptoms of that kind of nerve pain. But then that kind of spinal mobilization could also help with just kind of creating a little bit of space into those discs. How can we avoid it? Things like our core strengthening, very, very important, and particularly working into the lower back area. Not letting those hips get too tight. So when they're very tight, it's really hard to engage with the core muscles because everything's kind of pulling away from that area that we want to engage in. So we will be working a little bit of mobility into those hips this morning as well. Often it can be related to piriformis syndrome, and that again is where the nerve is running down through the muscle. The muscle's gotten really tight and it's agitating that nerve. And that's kind of part of our glute muscle group, so that we will be working quite a lot on that this morning. Okay, so with that in mind, if you have a block and a strap, it'll be helpful this morning. If you don't have a strap, like a pillowcase or a towel, we're going to start in an easy cross-legged seat. And if it doesn't feel easy, feel free to prop yourself up, maybe sit up onto the edge of a block, or maybe roll up a bit of a towel and just park it in underneath those sit bones so that we can get a little slight tilt in the pelvis. So sometimes if we're sitting like this, we might need that extra little bit of height so that we can get that forward rotation of a pelvis, and then we can start to really engage with those core muscles. We're going to rest the palms down in the knees. See if we can relax the shoulder blades together down the spine. So creating a little bit of heart space here, and visualizing the spine like a string of beads, and we're drawing those beads apart. So we're really lengthening toward the ceiling. Just noticing where the breath is at this morning, noticing if we're holding it, notice if it's caught up in the chest, and see if we can sink it nice and deep down into the belly, and use that belly breath to really stretch into the rib cage and stretch into the core. We're just going to softly inhale and exhale through the nose. Each exhale, I want you to really use those core muscles to really press the breath away. So as we inhale, we're lengthening tall. And as we exhale, really pressing that breath out, using those core muscles. One more here. Lovely. We'll inhale, press the chest all the way over to the right. Bring it through center, all the way over to the left. And as we exhale, tuck the chin. We're going to round between the shoulders and continue with your own breath. So lovely deep bend to the elbows, rolling into the shoulders, the wrists, the elbows. Allow the head and neck move freely. So allow the weight of the head maybe bring us a little bit deeper into those circles. Pressing the palms of the hands into the legs to draw ourselves a little bit further forward. Press ourselves a little bit further back as we stretch between those shoulders. Maybe even press ourselves out to the side so that we're really extending into the side waist and getting a nice little stretch into the rib cage, into those intercostal muscles. So again, just really warming up into the body here. We should feel it a little bit more in one hip compared to the other, depending on which legs or which leg we have out front in our easy cross legs. If easy cross-legged is not happening for you this morning, feel free to sit back onto the heels or stretch those legs out in front. We can still work into our spine. We're going to meet back at center in seat, and we'll reverse the crisscross if they're crossed. Again, just balancing out those hips. So we're going to inhale, press the chest to the left, To center all the way over to the right. And as we exhale, tuck the chin and round. Continue with your own breath. So again, just mobilizing into the body here, create a little bit of space into the joints, into the spine, stretching out the core that we're hopefully going to engage with quite a little bit in this morning's class. So again, we're talking about creating space into that hip area, and then we want to engage with that space we've just created. So start to really engage with those muscles, those core stabilizing muscles. And eventually we're going to meet back at center in seat. We'll open the palms to the ceiling, sitting nice and tall, and then we're going to inhale both arms out, reaching up. Interlock fingers, press palms to ceiling. As we exhale, press the palms forward and really stretch between the shoulders. We'll do that twice more. So bringing those arms right back in line with the ears. And then exhale, press forward and release. We'll do that once more. Excellent. We're going to straighten both legs out in front and just adjust the sit bones, get nice and comfortable. Drawing the toes toward the face, see if we can create that little bit of length into the spine. If we do find that we're collapsing, do try to take this pose maybe up against the wall so that you can maintain that nice long spine and start to really engage those frontal core muscles. We're going to hug the right knee in until the foot's in line with the left, and then we'll shift the hips forward to meet that heel. Crossing the right leg over the left. We're going to extend the left arm forward, really wrap it around the right leg and hug it as tight as we can into the body till we feel that right glute release. We're going to stay here with the leg extended, drawing that toe strongly toward the face, and we'll inhale the right arm up. And as we exhale, gently twist to the right as far as we can, and then rest the hand on the ground behind us. Walk the hand around the lower body. We're going to look over the right shoulder. As we inhale, press that hand into the ground, lengthen tall. And as we exhale, gently twist. So we're inhaling, lengthening. And we're exhaling, twisting. Drawing both shoulders away from the ears. So finding that nice little bit of space into the neck, into the upper spine. And as we hug that right leg in, we're really feeling that release into the right hip. Nice little one for piriformis here too. One more breath. And then inhale gently back through center, little twist to the left just to release, and then back to center. We're going to hug the right knee in toward the armpit. We place the foot into the left hand, knee into the right, sitting as tall as we can. If it feels okay in the hamstring, we're going to bring that foot a little bit higher and then gently rock into the right hip, really slowly. And again, don't force the movement, but don't be afraid of the movement. So we're bringing the foot all the way across the body, bringing that knee all the way back as far as we can go. If with the left leg out straight, you don't feel very stable in your sit bones, do feel free to bend that left knee whatever way you need, just to give yourself that extra little bit of base. As the shin comes a little bit higher, we'll feel it a wee bit more into the hamstring. And again, often if the hips are very tight, those hamstrings might already be overstretched. So just be really careful here. If we're feeling that more so into the sits bones where the hamstring muscle attaches, maybe just drop the foot so that we're not going too deep into that muscle, into that stretch. Meeting back at center. We're going to rest the right ankle just above or just below the knee. Left hand is on the ball of the foot, right hand is on the inner knee. Again, we're sitting tall. As we inhale, pressing that knee into the hand, really strong activation. And as we exhale, release. So inhale, press up, activate. Exhale, release. We'll do that 3 more times. So we're only activating on the inhale, slowly release on the exhale. So we're using that activation into the muscle to hopefully create a little bit more space on that breath. Excellent. We're going to bring the hands behind us, fingertips point back, pressing into the ground. We're opening into the heart. And again, from here, we can just gently press that right knee toward the ground and stay here. If that feels enough, just work in that space. If you feel you want to go deeper, you can bend the left knee, flatten out the foot. You'll feel that a little bit more into the right hip. If you want to go deeper again, sit bones toward the heel, heel toward the sit bones, but try not to collapse into those shoulders. So keep pressing the ground away, opening into the heart. We're drawing that right toe toward the knee. So we're keeping that lower leg active and that right knee nice and safe. and that left foot is in line with the knee. So as we inhale, lengthen tall through the spine, and as we exhale, press that right knee forward or toward the ground if we've that left leg straight. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale a little bit deeper. Don't force the hips. So again, you should just feel a nice gentle release here. Again, our figure 4 poses, which we're going to do a few variations of this morning, are probably one of the better ones for releasing those muscles around the sciatic nerve. So again, just breathing into that space. Sometimes they can feel a little bit fuzzy, a little bit nervy, but again, no pain. Nice full deep belly breaths. One more breath here. And we're going to straighten the left leg out if it's not there already. We'll place the sole of the foot to the inner thigh, and we're going to reach for our strap or our pillowcase or our towel. Soften the left knee. We'll wrap the strap around the ball of that left foot. We'll tuck those elbows into the waist, and we're going to straighten that left leg. We might shift that left leg back a little bit into the hip socket. We're looking toward that left middle toe. And again, just notice as we draw the toe toward the knee, we're feeling that on the lower leg. If we're feeling it into the hamstring, it's the belly of the hamstring. And we might just need a slight lean to feel that. If we're feeling it up near the sit bone, just keep the knee nice and soft or bent. So we'll inhale, lengthen. And as we exhale, we're going to fold, leading with the chest, lengthening from the lower back. So we're not rounding into the spine here. Keep relaxing those shoulders back. Maybe walk the hands toward the foot. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Keep it active. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, fold. Continue with your own breath. So again, noticing that hamstring, we're only wanting that sensation in the middle, the belly of the hamstring, that nice little fleshy part. If it's more so near the insertion points, back off. We can still get that nice lengthening into the spine. We can still work into that lower leg without aggravating the hamstring. Our hamstring releases, though, are very good for our sciatic nerve. But again, if that hamstring is already at its most stretch point, we're not going to do it any favors. So again, listening to your own body here this morning, we'll take one more. And again, you could be folding a lot more than I am here. I'm just quite happy out where I'm at. Lovely. Gently tuck the chin. We'll slowly come back up to seat. We're going to straighten the right leg out to meet left. Maybe just give them a little shake there. And again, get nice and comfortable here. We're going to hug the left knee in until the foot's in line with the right, and we'll shift the sit bones forward to meet it. Crossing the left leg over the right. Get it nice and tight into the body. We'll extend the right arm forward, and we're going to wrap it around the left leg and hug that nice and tight into the chest. Again, lengthening through the spine, feeling that release into the left glute. We'll inhale the left arm up. And as we exhale, twisting as much as we can. And then when we can't twist any further, we'll rest the left hand to the ground. Drawing that right toe actively toward the body. Inhale, press the left hand into the ground. And as we exhale, gently twist. Looking over the left shoulder. Keeping that left hand nice and close to the lower body. So we're not relying on it. We're engaging with the core. Every inhale, creating space in the spine. And every exhale, working into that space. Continuing to hug the left leg in. Draw those shoulders away from the ears. Really engaging with the core here. Nice full deep belly breaths. And then inhale gently back through center, little twist to the right, and then back to center again. We're going to hug the left knee toward the armpit. Place the foot into the right hand. Draw the toe toward the knee. Left knee into the left hand. Shin a little bit higher if it's okay in the hamstring. We're sitting tall, and we're again going to rock into that left hip. Nice and slow. Mindfully listening to what's going on in this side compared to the other. Maybe close down the eyes so we're not getting too caught up with what that movement looks like, but we're just really noticing how it feels. Again, not being afraid of the range. So we're just looking for a nice natural functional range here. So again, not being afraid to draw the knee a little bit further back. Maybe draw that left foot a little bit further across the chest. Using the hands to support the movement, not force the movement. And again, still maintaining that lovely length in the spine, that connection to the core. We're going to meet back at center, and we're going to rest the left ankle just above or just below the knee. Right hand is on the ball of the foot. Left hand is on the inner knee, and already notice if that left knee is a little bit higher than what the right was. We're going to inhale, press the knee strongly into the hand, and as we exhale, release. So we're inhaling, pressing up, exhale, release. We'll do that 3 more times. Activate and release. 2 more. So each time we might get a little bit more space. Sometimes we need to wake up the muscle before it's going to allow that release. Lovely. We bring the hands behind us, fingertips point back, pressing into the ground, opening into the heart, and just gently teasing that left knee toward the ground. And again, you can flutter into the hip if it feels good. Stay here. That might be more than enough. If you want to go deeper, you can bend the right knee, flatten out the foot. Continuing to draw the left toe toward the knee and press that left knee forward. If you want to go deeper again, heel towards sit bone toward heel. Just make sure those sit bones are grounded. They're not hovering. And again, we're nice and open in the heart, nice and long in the spine. That right foot is in line with the right knee. So as we inhale, lengthen through the spine, opening into the heart. And as we exhale, press that left knee away as we really sink those hips toward the ground. And again, this can be with the right leg bent or straight, once we're feeling that release. And again, one side might not feel as deep as the other. Maybe we bend the knee on one side, not the other, but definitely tuning into those imbalances. So not ignoring them, working with them, not forcing them, but not ignoring them. Feeling that release, just breathing into that left hip space for 3, for 2, and 1. Gently, we're going to straighten the right leg out. We place the sole of the foot to the inner thigh, wherever it lands, and we reach for our strap again. We're going to soften or bend that right knee, and we'll wrap the strap around the ball of the right foot this time. Tucking the elbows to the waist, and we'll straighten the leg. Maybe shift that leg bone a little bit further back into the hip socket to create a wee bit more space. And we're looking toward those middle toes of the right foot. Relax the shoulders. This might be enough. We don't need to fold. This could be more than enough. Keep pressing that left knee toward the ground. As we inhale, lengthen. And as we exhale, gently fold. But again, we're leading with the chest. We're lengthening from the lower back. So we're trying not to round into the body. Keep hugging those elbows in. Keep drawing those shoulder blades together. And again, we might be folding that deep. You might be folding a lot deeper than what I'm doing here. I'm being very conscious and very gentle with my right hamstring this week. So again, don't be afraid to go a little bit deeper if it feels better for your body. Every inhale, we're lengthening. And every exhale, we're folding. And you might find you're folding all the way. That belly might be rested on the leg. The chest might be rested on the knee. And we're all going to be different depending on where our bodies are at. So again, not forcing the pulse, noticing the imbalances, but not forcing one side to do what the other side did. Once you're feeling that space, that release, 1 more breath. Gently tuck the chin, and we'll slowly roll away back up to seat. We can release the strap off to the side for now. Straightening out the leg, maybe rocking into the legs and hips here a little bit. And then from here, we're going to come to lie back on the ground. Just make sure you have your block and strap there beside you in case we need them. So slowly lower ourselves down onto the ground. We'll start with the knees bent and the feet flat. And we're going to really press that lower back into the ground. So we're feeling where those core muscles are. We're getting a nice little release into the pelvis. So we can just lie in here, pressing the lower back into the ground is a lovely release into that hip area. Lovely. We're going to hug the right knee into the chest, and then we're going to rest the right ankle just above the left knee. Coming into figure 4, we might draw that heel a little bit closer to the sit bone. Drawing the right toe toward the knee, and we're pressing that right knee away from the body. And we can gently press that right hand into the leg. So we're not forcing it, but just notice if we do have a little bit more space. Ideally, we want the knee pointed out to the right or even slightly forward. If it's pointed up over the shoulder, I want you to really try to activate that right hip so we can press it away. Stay here, that might be more than enough. Otherwise, if you want to join me, we're going to lift the left foot off the ground, shin parallel to the ceiling, and we can either interlock the fingers around the back of the left hamstring, or if you find you're rounding into the spine, you're coming off the lower back, or you just want a deeper stretch, we can reach for our strap or our towel, and we wrap it around the back of that left hamstring. So that right hand is going through that little triangular shape there with the legs. And that actually, even if we think we don't need it, you might want to try it and just see if you can get a little bit more space into the right hip. So don't be afraid to use that prop. We're not cheating, we're just allowing a little bit more space within the pose. So as we inhale, walk the shoulder blades together, connect the whole end of the spine to the ground. And as we exhale, draw the left knee a little bit closer as we continue to press that right knee forward. Left shin ideally parallel to the ceiling. Notice as we drop the foot, we mightn't feel it as intense into the right hip. So again, just playing around where that left leg is at. And we're just breathing into that right hip space. If you want to get a little bit more release into the hamstring, we're going to straighten the left leg up toward the ceiling, draw the toes toward the face. Still drawing the left knee in, still pressing that right knee forward. Holding it here for 3, for 2, and 1. Gently bend the left knee, allow the heel drop this time. And we might stay here for the next couple of breaths, or if you have the space, we might interlock the fingers around the front of the shin, but not if we're overreaching, only if we have that extra little bit of space. So we want to go deeper for 3, for 2, and 1. Gently release the grip. Release the left foot to the ground. We cross the right leg fully over left. Nice, easy crisscross legs here. Pressing the lower back into the ground. We'll draw both knees into the chest. We can either interlock fingers around the right knee, the left shin, or catch hold of the front of the ankles and draw those heels as far away from each other as we can. Relax the elbows, relax the shoulders. We're going to draw the belly in and see if we can really hug those knees as close as we can into the chest. Tucking the chin slightly just to lengthen through the spine. And we're not going to engage the upper core as much here. I just want you to really focus in on that right glute. So as we inhale, lengthening, opening, and as we exhale, draw those feet away from each other as we hug the knees tight into the chest, feeling that into the right hip, breathing into that space for 3, for 2, and 1. Release the grip, release the feet back to the ground. We're going to hug the right knee into the chest. We're going to straighten the left leg down toward the ground. Really press the back of that left leg into the ground. Left hand is on the shin. And we're going to gently draw that right knee over toward the left shoulder. We're not working into a twist here, so I want you to keep pressing that right hip down. So we're kind of counter movement here. And we're just drawing that knee, that right knee toward the left armpit. So again, we can keep that right hand on the ground. We can even place it onto the right hip to make sure we can stabilize that area. So we're not working into our twist. Often when I get you into this pose, we're working into our twist. This morning, we're just hugging that left knee toward the armpit. But as we do so, we're pressing that right hip away. Pressing that right hip down. Again, we can look over the right shoulder to encourage that right side of the body to ground. Holding it here for 3, for 2, and 1. This time we'll extend the right arm out in line with the shoulder. Left hand is on the knee. We're going to shift the hips a little bit to the right and then gently cross that right leg over to the left. So again, feeling a little bit deeper release here. Feeling it all throughout the spine. So we're going into a spine rotation here. Right shoulder is glued to the ground. If we feel we're not fully in the twist, just shift the hips ever so slightly to the right. So ideally that right hip is stacked on top of left. Inhale, nice full deep belly breath. Exhale, release. 2 more breaths here. Last one. And then inhale gently back to center. Keep hugging the right knee in. We're going to interlock the fingers around the back of the hamstring. So we're going to floss out that sciatic nerve. Inhale, straighten the right leg up toward the ceiling. Draw the toes toward the face. Exhale, hug the right knee into the chest. Inhale, straighten the right leg up, pointing inward to the left. Exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, straighten the right leg up, pointing outward to the right. Exhale, knee to chest. Continue at your own breath. So you've got 3 directions there, particularly as we point inward and outward. We're working into that sciatic nerve. So it might feel a little bit of a fuzzy sensation. No pain, but it could feel a wee bit fuzzy. Just releasing into the muscles around that nerve. And don't be afraid to really exaggerate that pointing of the foot. You'll feel a little rotation into the hip, the knee, the ankle. So again, we're just loosening up into all those muscles around the nerves. This is called flossing out the nerve. And really, you can't do too many of these. As we straighten the leg, just notice if we're feeling any little bit of pinching up near the sit bone or behind the knee. So we don't need to straighten that knee all the way. That hamstring might already be at its longest state. But again, not forcing it. And eventually hugging the right knee in. We're going to reach for a strap once more. We'll wrap it around the ball of the right foot. And then gently straighten the right leg up toward the ceiling. Again, working into the hamstring a wee bit here. We're going to catch hold of the strap just with the right hand. And then we're going to bend that right knee as deeply as we can, but try to keep the sole of the foot as parallel to the ceiling as we can. Left hand is on the hip. And then we're going to draw that right knee down toward the ground beside us, but we're not opening that foot out. We're still keeping that foot parallel to the ceiling. So as we inhale, press sole of the foot toward the ceiling. We might straighten the leg if it feels okay in the hamstring. And then exhale, bend that right knee all the way down toward the ground. So we're inhaling, pressing up. And we're exhaling, drawing down. Continue with your own breath. So a little kind of a half happy baby variation. Again, notice as we straighten the leg or as we bend that knee deeply, if it's agitating the hamstring, just decrease that range. So don't straighten the leg fully, don't bend the knee as deeply. And we can still get a nice little release into the hip without agitating that hamstring. I'm drawing the toe toward the knee, so we're still working into that lower leg space. And again, ideally the strap is around the ball of the foot so that we can get into that lower leg. If it's around the arch, we can still work the rest of the movement, but we're just not really getting anything into that lower limb. We're going to pause here with that knee bent and just hold it, breathing into the space for 3, for 2, and 1, release. When we hug that right knee into the chest, we can release the strap off to the side. We'll hug the left knee in to meet it, and then we're going to release the right foot to the ground. Knee is bent, feet is flat, draw that heel nice and close to the sit bone. We're going to rest the left ankle just above the knee. Draw the toe toward the knee, we're pressing that left knee away from the body, and we can gently use that left hand just to coax that left leg forward and just notice how that feels. So we're not forcing it, but just see if we do have that little bit of extra space. We can stay here, that might be more than enough. Otherwise, we're going to lift the right foot off the ground, shin parallel to the ceiling, and again, either interlock fingers or wrap our strap around the back of that right hamstring. As we inhale, walk the shoulder blades together, connect the whole length of the spine to the ground, really tuck that chin in, feel that length in behind the neck. As we exhale, we're drawing the right knee a little bit closer as we press that left knee forward away from the body. So we're inhale, lengthening, opening, and we're exhale, deepening, releasing, really feeling that into the left glute. So again, our figure 4 poses, really great for releasing into the glute group, into the piriformis, so creating a wee bit of space here. Keep drawing the belly in, engaging with the core, holding it here. If you want to go a wee bit more into the hamstring, if it feels okay, we're going to straighten the right leg, draw the toes toward the face, but still hugging the right knee in and still pressing that left knee forward away from the body. Holding it here for 3, for 2, and 1. Bend the right knee, allow the heel drop. We can stay here for the next couple of moments if you wish, and you can go deeper, interlock fingers around the front of the shin, but just make sure that lower back feels stable on the ground. Holding it here for 3, for 2, and 1. Gently release the right foot down to the ground. We're going to cross the left leg softly over the right. Nice, easy crisscross legs. Press lower back into the ground, draw the belly in. We're going to hug those knees into the chest. We can interlock fingers either around the left knee, the right shin, or catch hold of the front of the ankles. Draw those heels as far away from each other as we can. Relax the elbows, relax the shoulders. And then from here, see if we can draw those knees really tight into the chest. And we should feel that into the left hip. So we're inhale, lengthening the spine, opening the heart, and as we exhale, draw the knees a little bit closer to the chest as we work those feet away from each other. Keeping that lower back stable if we can. Holding it here for 3, for 2, and 1. Gently release. Release the grip, release the feet back down to the ground. We're going to hug the left knee into the chest. We'll straighten that right leg down to the ground, actively pressing through the heel, pressing the back of that right hamstring into the ground. Right hand is on the shin. Left hand we can just place to the ground for now. And we're going to keep the lower back grounded. We're going to draw that left knee toward the right armpit, but keep pressing that left hip down. So we're not going into a twist here. Keep pressing that left hip down. You can even place that left hand onto the hip to coax it down. So again, it's a very gentle release here. Probably not going to feel too deep. So keep pressing that left side of the body down as we work that right knee toward the armpits. Just holding it here for 3. Nice full deep belly breaths for 2. And 1. We'll extend the left arm out in line with the shoulder palm down. Right hand is on the knee. We'll shift the hips just a wee bit to the left, and we're going to draw the left leg across the body to the right. Now we're in our spinal twist. Looking over toward the left fingertips. If we find that we're not fully in the twist, just shift the hips ever so slightly to the left. That left shoulder is glued to the ground. Left hip is stacked on top of right. Both hips are centered down the midline of our mat. Inhale, nice full deep belly breath. And as we exhale, twist and release. 2 more breaths here. Nice full deep belly breaths. Use that breath to create as much space as you can. And as you exhale, work into that space. And we'll inhale back to center. Keep hugging the left knee in. We're going to interlock the fingers around the back of the left hamstring. As we inhale, straighten the left leg up toward the ceiling, draw the toes toward the face. As we exhale, hug the left knee into the chest. Inhale, straighten the left leg up, pointing outward to the left. Exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, straighten the left leg up, pointing inward to the right. Exhale, knee to chest. Continue with your own breath. You've got 3 directions there. Try to keep pressing the back of that right leg into the ground. And if you feel unstable, you can always bend the right knee, stabilizing that lower back. So again, just listen to your own body. I want you to make the pose as accessible as you can. So if you find with that right leg extended that you're restricting that movement into the left, by all means, do bend that right knee. Exaggerate as we point inward and outward with that foot. Noticing how it feels, what the sensation is comparing to the other side. Again, we're looking ideally for balance. But again, just noticing the imbalances. And sometimes it can be just how we slept or how we sat before the class. But if it's something that keeps popping up, or if we're getting kind of injuries down that chain, really important that we do pay attention and we try to aim for that balance. Lovely. We'll hug the left knee back into the chest. We're going to reach for our strap and we're going to wrap it around the ball of the left foot. Straightening the leg up toward the ceiling. Relax those shoulder blades together in the ground. As we draw the toe toward the face and noticing where we're feeling that in the hamstrings. For our hamstring stretch, we're looking ideally for an angle of 80 to 90 degrees at the back of the leg to the ground. If that's too much, you can bend the right knee. Left hand catches hold of the strap. Right hand rests on the right hip. And we're going to bend that left knee deeply into the body, but try to keep the sole of the foot as parallel as we can to the ceiling. And then we're going to draw that left knee down toward the ground beside us, if it's accessible, getting a little bit more depth into that hip. We're going to inhale, straighten the left leg up. And as we exhale, draw the left knee down toward the ground. Inhale, press up, sole of the foot toward the ceiling. Exhale, draw down. Continue with your own breath. And again, you don't have to straighten the leg if it's agitating that hamstring. Bending the knee as deeply as feels good for you. But it's an upward, downward movement as opposed to an inward, outward. So that shin is staying perpendicular to the ceiling. The sole of the foot is ideally parallel so that the ceiling can see the sole of the foot. Again, just see where you're at. Don't force it. If the muscle is shaken, don't go so deep. So if we're shaking, we're not actually releasing into anything. In fact, we're really engaging and contracting. Which one we want to do it, it's good. But for this, we're looking at it a release. So no shaky muscles. Lovely. And relax. We can release the strap off to the side, just gently hugging that left knee into the chest, right knee into meet it. And then we're going to rest both feet down to the ground. So a little bit into the pelvis here with our bridges. We're going to reach for our block if we have it. If we don't, I want you to picture about the width of your fists between the knees, pressing the knees toward each other but not to touch. If we have our block, we're pressing the knees into the block. Really walking those heels toward the bum so we can brush the backs of the heels. And then from here, we're going to step those feet as wide as we can, the width of the mat if we can, and really press that lower back into the ground. So even just lying here, pressing that lower back into the ground, knees into the block toward each other, we're releasing into the pelvis and we're creating space around that sciatic nerve. If you want to join, we're going to place the hands to the ground, fingertips point to the front of the mat, pressing feet into the ground. We're going to gently peel the lower, middle, upper back off the ground as we lift the hips high. We'll walk the shoulder blades together. Pressing hands, arms, shoulders, feet into the ground, knees into the block, drawing belly toward the heart center to really engage with those core muscles. If it's too much, do feel free to step those feet a little bit closer toward each other. Maybe you can feel a nice little release into the ITB here because we are working a release here as well as an engagement. We can stay here just lifting those hips. If you want to bring some movement, we're going to inhale, lift. And as we exhale, gently lower the hips, hovering them just off the mat. Inhale really slowly up. Exhale really slowly lower. Continue with your own breath. So we're working strength into that posterior chain, feeling those lower back muscles, those glutes, those hamstrings. Slight little internal rotation of the hips here, and just notice how that feels. We press the knees toward each other or into the block, really strong. Last one. And then slowly release all the way down to the ground. We step the feet toward each other. We're going to lift the feet off the ground, shins parallel to the ceiling. Knees are still into the block, hands are rested on the thighs, lower back is pressed into the ground. So knees into the block, lower back into the ground. We're going to press the hands into the legs, legs into the hands, and really strongly activate. So there's no movement here, but it should feel really strong, and you might even start to shake. Holding it here, but not forgetting to breathe for 3, for 2, and 1. Straighten the legs all the way down to the ground. Bring the arms back overhead. Reach through the fingertips. Take a nice deep breath here. And then come all the way back. Shins parallel to the ceiling. Hands to legs, legs to hands, knees to block, lower back into the ground. Strong activation here. Feeling that into the core, into the pelvis for 3, for 2, and 1. Straighten the legs, rest them down to the ground, reach the fingertips all the way back. Nice full body stretch. Take a nice big breath here. And then back to the start, shins parallel to the ceiling. Last one, knees into block, lower back into ground, hands into legs, legs into hands for 3. Nice and strong for 2, and 1. Straighten the legs all the way down to the ground. Extend those arms back overhead. Nice full body stretch for 3, for 2, and 1. Coming back to center. And then we can rest the feet down, rest the blocks to the side. We're going to bring the feet the width of the mat apart, allow the knees fall all the way to touch. Arms open into cactus arms, pressing the whole length of the spine into the ground. And again, we can stay here, that might be enough. Otherwise, we'll inhale center. And as we exhale, drop the knees all the way over to the right as we look over the left shoulder. Inhale back through center, exhale, knees drop to the left as we look over the right shoulder. Continue, inhale center, exhale, knees to the right, gaze to the left, back to center. Continue with your own breath. Making sure the feet are wide enough apart that the opposite knee has loads of space to fall behind the opposite foot. And we're trying to press the knees as close to the ground, if not all the way to the ground. So we're internally, externally rotating into those lovely hips. As we press the knee down toward the ground, you're going to feel that nice little stretch into the sideways. You might even get a little release into the ITB, definitely into piriformis. Keep the shoulders grounded so we're getting a nice little spinal rotation, and we're looking the opposite way as to where those knees are falling. Don't forget to breathe. Nice, relaxed, full, deep belly breaths. In and out through the nose, but if at any stage it feels better to sigh the breath out and just get an extra little release, then by all means do. We're going to meet back at center when you're ready. Bringing knees and feet together. We'll hug the knees into the chest. We're going to crisscross the ankles. Options to make your way anyway to seat, or you can rock and roll with me just the once, coming forward into a nice strong seat. Sitting nice and tall into the spine. We're going to bring the hands forward out in front. Gently shift the body weight forward so we can step back onto the knees, finding ourselves in a lovely strong tabletop. Shoulders over elbows over wrists, elbow creases face forward. Knees are hip width apart and hips are stacked over knees. Press the ground away, see if we can draw the belly button in. We're going to inhale, take the gaze forward and up as we arch through the spine. Exhale, press into the ground, curl through the spine, take the gaze back to the belly. Inhale, gaze goes forward and up, arching the spine. Exhale, press into the ground, curl through the spine, tuck the chin to the chest, continue with your own breath. Nice strong cat-cow curls, releasing into the whole length of the spine. Again, visualizing the spine like a string of beads, and we're trying to draw those beads apart. So create as much space as we can using the movement itself. So quite a lot of mat work this morning, just really trying to release into those muscles around that nerve. We will get a little bit flowier now in a moment. So again, just really opening up into that space. Relax the breath. Feel free to sigh it out if it feels better. We're going to meet in stillness in our tabletop. We'll walk the hands slightly forward out front. We'll tuck the toes under. We're going to send those sit bones back toward the heels just for a moment. Maybe wriggle through the toes, get a nice little stretch in between those toes. We're going to look back between the feet. Press on hands and feet into the ground. We'll hover the knees and lift those hips as high as we can, gently lowering those heels down toward the ground. So we're coming into our downward dog. As you press the ground away, see if we can draw the chest a little bit closer toward the mat. Relax the head, relax the neck, coaxing those heels down, but not forcing them down. So maybe take a little few steps, walking it out, opposite heel, melting toward the ground. And it might or it might not get there. What is important to note, if one heel drops a little bit easier than the other. So just noticing if there is a little imbalance there. It could be hip, it could be spine, it could be calf. It could be ankle. There's lots of stuff happening here along that chain. It could be hamstring. Just noticing, not forcing. Looking forward between the hands, we'll gently walk our way to the front of the mat. Meeting in a nice relaxed forward fold. Allow the belly rest onto the legs and take a nice deep bend into those knees. Relax the head, relax the neck. We'll hold on to opposite elbows. And we're just going to breathe deeply into the rib cage here. I want you to really feel that release more so into the lower back than anything else. One more breath. Release the fingertips, tuck the chin, slowly rolling your way all the way up the stand. Head comes up fast, nice and easy. Whew. Relax the arms by the sides. We're going to cross the right leg in front of the left. And again, nice, comfortable in our foundation here. We're going to inhale both arms out, reaching up. And as we exhale, we're going to press the hips forward and we're going to reach forward through the fingertips. We are working toward the fold, but I want you to keep a nice long spine, looking between that space and the hands. And then when you feel good, we're going to fold. So again, keep that length forward. Hands can come to the ground, a chair, a block. They might rest on the shin. Sometimes it's nice to press the hands into the shin as we draw those sit bones back. So as we inhale, lengthen through the spine.
As we exhale, we might fold a little bit more. If you need to bend the knees, listen to those hamstrings, but keep pressing the hips back. So as I press that left hip back, you should be feeling quite a nice little release along the left hip into the leg all the way down to the foot. So again, working around that sciatic nerve, breathing into that space for 3, for 2, and 1. Tuck the chin. We'll slowly roll back up to stand. We're going to uncross the legs. Same on the other side. Cross the left leg in front of the right. Bringing those feet nice and close together. Hips are pointed forward. We'll inhale both arms out, reaching up. And as we exhale, send those sit bones back as we reach forward through the fingertips. Keep that length in the spine as long as we can, and then gently fold. So again, hands to the ground, to the chair, to the wall out front. Maybe all the way down, maybe rest into the shin. Wherever we are, I want you to really press those sit bones back. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, maybe fold a little bit more. So again, feeling that from the right glute, maybe weave it into the lower back, down the back of that right leg, and all the way down to the foot, depending on how intense we're going. And you might find one side a little bit more than the other. Feel free to soften the knees if it's agitating that hamstring. Breathing and folding for 3. Keep pressing those sit bones back for 2. And 1, gently tuck the chin, slowly rise back up to stand. And we're going to uncross the legs. Take a little drink here if you need. Really short flow to finish out our practice this morning. One last little variation of our figure 4. Again, it is a standing balance. So if you need to locate yourself near a wall or a chair for a little bit of support. Feet nicely grounded, hip width distance apart, arms by the side, shoulders relaxed, palms are open, belly drawn in. We're going to inhale, lift the right knee out in front, bring those hands to heart. We're going to rest the right ankle just above the knee. So again, you can use the wall for support if you need. Draw the right toe toward the knee and press that right knee back. Stay here, that might be enough. If we want to go a little bit further, we're going to soften the left knee and sit back into like a little quarter chair. So I want you to really feel that into the lower leg. So really sitting into that space. Keeping the lower back neutral, nice long spine, heart is open, gaze is forward. Nice little stretch into the back of that left leg. Holding it, sitting for 3, for 2, and 1. Inhale, we're going to straighten the leg, bring the right knee out in front. As we exhale, soften the left knee. We're going to step that right foot back as far as we can, finding ourselves into a nice high lunge. And then we're going to drop the right heel down, opening the arms or into our warrior. Left knee, left foot point forward. We're bending into the left knee. Right foot is parallel to the back edge of the mat. Left heel is bisecting the arch of the back foot. Relax the shoulders. We're looking toward that left middle finger. We're going to inhale, straighten the left leg, arms together overhead, gaze goes up. Exhale, bend the left knee, open the arms, warrior. Inhale, lengthen, reach and rise, arms by the ears. Exhale, bend the left knee, warrior. 1 more. Meeting in a warrior, we'll inhale, straighten the left leg. Keep it straight as we exhale, reach those fingertips as far forward as we can go. Bring the back of the hand to the inner leg. Extend the right arm up. Taking the gaze up, we're pressing the hips forward. We're drawing the right shoulder back for 3. Reaching, lengthening for 2. And 1, we'll inhale the right arm all the way overhead. And as we exhale, bring the right hand down to meet left. Inhale, both arms together all the way back up. And as we exhale, bend the left knee, open the arms, warrior. Cartwheeling both hands down either side of the left foot, coming onto the ball of the right. Shift the body weight forward to lift that right foot up to meet left. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, rolling up through center. Hands extended up, palms together. Exhale, hands to heart. Arms by the side, shoulders relaxed, gaze is forward. Grounding that right foot into the mat. We're going to inhale, lift the left knee out in front. Hands come to heart. We're going to rest that left ankle just above or just below the knee. Draw the left toe toward the knee and really press that left knee back. Drawing the belly in, engaging with the core. If the ankle is above the knee, we might soften that right knee. Sitting back into a little quarter chair. Keeping the spine nice and long, heart is open here for 3, for 2, and 1. Gently straighten the right leg. We'll bring the left knee out in front. We're going to soften the right knee, stepping that left foot back as far as we can, finding stillness. We'll drop the left heel down. Open the arms, warrior. Bending into the right knee, right foot point forward. We're looking toward that right middle finger. Sinking into the hips, drawing those inner thighs toward each other. Inhale, straighten the right leg, arms together overhead, gaze goes up. Exhale, bend the right knee, warrior lunge. Inhale, lengthen, reach and rise, arms right by the ears. Exhale, bend the right knee, warrior lunge. Last one. Getting a little bit deeper only if it feels okay on the hips. So we have worked quite a lot into that space this morning. Inhale, we're going to straighten the right leg, keep both legs straight. As we exhale, reach those fingertips as far forward as we can go. Bring the back of the right hand to the inner leg, extend the left arm up. Press the left hip forward, draw the left shoulder back. We're looking up here for 3, for 2, and 1. Inhale the left arm all the way overhead. And as we exhale, left hand comes down to meet right. Inhale both arms together all the way back up. And as we exhale, bend the right knee, open the arms, warrior. Cartwheeling both hands down either side of the foot, coming onto the ball of the left. Shifting the body weight forward to lift the left foot up to meet right. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, rolling up through center, hands extended up, palms together. Exhale, hands to heart. And another little flow to bring us to the mat this morning. Hands together. Shoulders relaxed. Heart is open. We're going to inhale both arms out, reaching up, palms together. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, gaze forward, hands to shins, nice flat back. Exhale, fold. Here we can either step or lightly jump back to plank, your choice. If we're jumping, we're landing as softly as we can. And we're just going to hold it here in plank. So again, if I had more time this morning, I'd be doing a lot more core with you. So core work is so important. If we suffer from sciatica, strengthening up those core muscles. And our high plank is one of those better movements or those better poses. We're just going to hold it here. So again, notice if the hips have dropped, notice if the bum's up in the air. We want a nice straight line from the neck to the heels. If it's too much on the shoulders, you can drop to the knees, but make sure we maintain that lovely straight line. So again, the bum hasn't popped up, the hips haven't dropped, that we're compressing into the lower back. We're actively pressing the ground away. So think of those arms, we're pressing the ground away as opposed to supporting the body, pressing back through the heels. Think of the neck as an extension of the spine, really starting to feel those muscles react. Holding it for 3, for 2, and 1. Exhale. Knees, chest chin to the ground, elbows in. Roll the heart forward, untuck the toes. Press the feet into the ground. We're going to press those hands into the ground, really draw those shoulders back. So we're in our baby cobra. And when you really tuck those elbows in, notice if we're putting pressure into the lower back. I want you to really draw the belly button in. And we're going to hold it here for 3, for 2, and 1. Exhale, release. Tuck the toes. Press the ground away, lift the hips, downward dog. We're going to finish with our pigeon. Again, one of our better poses for releasing into the sciatic nerve. So we'll inhale that right leg back and up, bend the right knee. We're going to shift the body weight forward so we can place the right knee on the ground behind the right wrist. Rest the shin down. Rest the left knee down. We'll untuck the toe. We're going to walk that left foot back as far as we possibly can. Draw that right toe slightly toward the knee so we're keeping that lower leg engaged. We're going to come up into our high or our pride pigeon to start with. So fingertips are on the ground. We're pressing the fingers into the ground, or 2 blocks if we need a little bit more length for those arms. We're gently sinking those hips toward the ground. Notice if we're feeling pressure in the lower back, I want you to really draw that belly button in. We can stay here. That might feel nice this morning if you want to just release into those hips. We're going to come down onto the forearms. Staying here, we might walk the hands forward a little bit more, resting the forehead to the ground, to a block. or maybe making a little pillow by piling one hand or one fist on top of the other. Or we can bend the elbows and just rest the head into the hands. Wherever we are, just make sure the head and neck are supported so that we can release into that posterior chin. Feeling that predominantly into the right hip, but I still want you to press that left hip toward the ground. And as we press the left hip toward the ground, you'll actually feel more of a release into the right hip. We're going to stay here just for about a minute, so not too long this morning, but just enough to release a little bit deeper into the fascia. So that's the fibers that are holding all our muscles, ligaments, tendons, bones together, working in bands throughout the whole length of the body. So just by releasing into one part of the fascia, we might find that we're releasing into another part of the body that we didn't even realize was connected. So just allow that happen, breathing into that space. If there's any pressure on the knees or the ankle, do feel free to come into your 90 degree legs. So you're creating 90-degree angles at all the joints. And again, you can stay high here, or you can fall forward into your fold. So it just takes pressure off the knees and ankles if you're feeling it. Otherwise, we can get a little bit deeper with our pigeon, so we'll stay here. Nice full, deep belly breath. Every exhale, allow yourself relax into the pose a little bit more. And again, if the hips are quite tight, if the piriformis is quite tight, this isn't going to be the most comfortable place in the world. But again, there should be no pain. Discomfort we can deal with, we can breathe into. Last couple of breaths on this side. When you're ready, we'll tuck the chin. We'll slowly come back up onto the hands if we're not there already. Hands are to the front of the mat. We're going to tuck the left toe under, come off the knee. And really slowly, we're going to uncurl that right leg and bring it back to meet left. And just lift the hips just a little bit. Walking it out in our downward dog. Just notice how that right leg, that right hip feels. Coming to stillness. Last side. We'll inhale the left leg back and up. We're going to bend the left knee into the chest, shift the body weight forward so we can place the left knee behind the wrist. Bringing that right knee to the ground, we'll untuck the toe, and we're going to shift that right leg back as far as we can. So we're getting a little bit closer toward the ground. Maybe draw the left toe toward the knee. That chin is going to land wherever feels comfortable for your body. So some people could have that chin parallel to the front edge of the mat. Mine's probably at an angle of about 45, 30 degrees, somewhere in between. So again, just finding what feels comfortable for you, particularly for the knee and the ankle. So don't force that chin forward. And again, just sinking those hips toward the ground, drawing the belly in, keeping that heart space if it feels better. Otherwise, we'll walk those arms forward, coming onto forearms, maybe walk them forward again, stretching the arms out front, resting the forehead to the ground, to a block, or making a little pillow by piling one hand, fist on top of the other, or whatever way feels good for you. So just make sure the head and neck are supported. Although we're going to feel that predominantly into the left hip, I want you to still press that right hip toward the ground. Breathing softly, deeply in and out through the nose, really filling that belly. Use that breath to really stretch into the core, creating space into the rib cage, all the way up into the armpits. So I want you to use the breath, consciously breathing to stretch the body from the inside out. Every exhale, squeezing every little bit of stale air and energy out of your body, using those core muscles with the breath. So again, quite a little bit of engagement there this morning. Not as much flow, but hopefully you'll feel the benefits as the day goes on. Really allow yourself to relax into that pose. Notice if we're holding tension in the hands, in the face, in the head, the neck, just really melting the chest, melting the belly, finding that space between the shoulder blades. So it's really hard to release into one part of the body if the rest of the body is holding tension. So just mindfully scanning the body, trying to release every little bit of tension so that we can really release into that left glute space. Last couple of breaths on this side, nearly there. Take a nice full, deep belly breath. And take one more here. And then gently we'll tuck the chin, slowly coming back up onto the hands, nice and easy. We'll tuck the right toe under, come off the knee, and really slowly we're going to uncurl that left leg, bring it back to meet right, and then lift the hips, walk it out one last time in our downward dog, or any variation that feels good for your body. Just getting a little bit of movement, noticing if those heels drop a little bit easier toward the ground. Relax the head, relax the neck, maybe looking out underneath opposite armpits, getting a nice little stretch into the side waist, a nice little swagger into those hips. And eventually we come to stillness, releasing down onto the knees. Bringing the toes together, we're going to gently walk the hands back toward the knees until we're sitting all the way back up onto the heels. And we can finish our practice here, maybe bring the knees together. We can come back into our easy cross-legged or any other seat that feels nice for you this morning. And just noticing how the body feels. And we're going to finish like we started. So just gently opening into that heart space. See if we can grow the spine a little bit taller. We're going to open the palms to the ceiling. Receiving a little bit more energy for the day ahead. And we're going to inhale both arms out, reach it up. Interlock fingers, press palms to ceiling. As we exhale, press the palms forward, release the breath, sigh it out and let it go. And we'll do that 2 more times. So nice big stretch. And release. Gently bring the hands to heart, press the palms together, close down the eyes, and just thank yourself for creating a wee bit of space in your morning to come to the mat, to look after yourself, to create some lovely energy, release and strength, and hopefully take that with you into the day and into the rest of the week ahead. And thank you for sharing your practice and your energy with me. Namaste.